Welcome back. Lori Daybell. Wow. This trial is about to happen, folks. The countdown continues, less than 3 weeks away. She'll be on trial. Ted Rowland's Court TV anchor has the story.
On November 5th, 2019, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell were married during a trip to Hawaii. A nice-looking couple, she was a mom of 3 kids, and it should have been an exciting blending of a family. But behind those newlywed smiles was a dark reality. Lori's 2 children, 7-year-old JJ Vallow and 16-year-old Tylee Ryan, had not been seen for a month and a half, and nobody, including their mother, had reported them missing. A few weeks after the wedding, JJ's grandparents were the ones to alert police.
Typically when a missing person is reported, it's the parents that call us. People were interested in the story right from the beginning. We don't normally get missing kids news releases that are like this, and it just continued to get bigger and bigger.
When investigators questioned Lori, she told police that JJ was with a friend in Arizona and Tylee was away at college. The newlyweds had met about a year prior at a religious conference. Chad was a celebrity of sorts in a small community of Mormons, revered by a devoted group of followers who believed him when he said that the end of the world was imminent.
He talked about the different visions he had of what he saw was going to happen in the last days.
Chad and Lori told multiple people that evil spirits had taken over the bodies of some of their family and friends, including Chad's ex-wife, Lori's ex-husband, and Lori's kids.
Please, for God's sake, please step up. These are beautiful young children.
Efforts to find JJ and Tylee grew with billboards, searches, and a reward. Then, Chad and Lori disappeared.
We attempted several times to get a hold of Lori, and her cell phone were shut off.
Investigators closed in on the pair in January of 2020. They had tried to escape to a place they knew well, Hawaii.
Where are your kids? No comment? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say? You're over here in Hawaii? Where are your children?
In February, Lori was arrested in Kauai and soon extradited back to Idaho.
Do you understand your legal rights here today?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about the form that you filled out or your rights?
No. Hi, Dad.
No.
Are you okay?
On June 9th, investigators would search Chad Daybell's backyard.
Were they in the house?
No, no property.
Are they seizing stuff again?
They're searching.
They found the bodies of JJ and Tylee. Chad Daybell was arrested.
On behalf of Mr. Daybell, we will enter a plea of not guilty to all of the charges.
Chad and Lori have always maintained their innocence, but they've racked up more charges throughout their time in jail. Both are charged with murdering her children and now conspiring to murder Chad's first wife, Tammy Daybell. Chad is also charged with first-degree murder in Tammy's death.
Tammy had been getting weaker and sick.
A medical examiner originally ruled that Tammy Daybell died of a cardiac event.
Her heart was failing her. She was physically falling apart.
Tammy's body was exhumed less than a month after Chad and Lori's wedding. The most recent cause of death has not yet been released. It's been more than 3 years since the deaths of JJ and Tylee, and throughout it all, the Doomsday couple have maintained their innocence.
I feel like that she'll never answer our questions. Why should she at the end of a trial or during the trial? The damning information is going to come from the forensics.
Whether we're in Idaho or here in Louisiana, we will be watching.
What a story. Let's bring in our guest. Joining us tonight from Los Angeles, California, senior reporter for DailyMail.com, Caitlin Becker, back with us, and in Jacksonville, Alabama, forensic death investigator, professor of forensics at Jacksonville State University, Joseph Scott Morgan. Great to have you both here. Caitlin, let me start with you. You cover so many stories. I've covered a lot of stories. I've never seen one with so many layers and bizarre behavior than this one, connected to Lori Daybell and her husband, the prophet Chad.
You know, Vinny, we almost get caught up. I was watching the segment earlier in the Murdoch of it all when you're thinking, gosh, you can't even think of another twist or turn. And then you have the Daybell case and it's like step to the side, Murdoch's. Everyone around this couple seems to just drop dead. And then you have to add the cult aspect to it, this obsession that her children had become zombies and that the end of times was upon us. I mean, truly, if you tried to sell this as a fiction and as a movie, a studio wouldn't touch it because they would say it was too unbelievable.
Joseph Scott Morgan, this is a case that began as a search for 2 missing children, turned into much, much more. But let's get to those 2 missing children, JJ and Tylee. On June 9th, police executed that search warrant on Chad's property. I remember being on the air with you as we looked at those aerial photos of what they were recovering. How much of what is found in that backyard will tell us the story of what happened to these 2 children?
It's monumental. The amount of evidence that they are going to be recovering, I think particularly relative to Tylee, is going to be quite the hill for the defense to climb, because you're going to have a modality of death, you're going to have a cause of death there. And then I think what is really quite telling is the way her remains were treated. You know, they're completely treated different than JJ. You know, he was, we call it memorialization of the dead. He was kind of memorialized. He was cocooned and buried away from her. There was an attempt to literally take her apartment and then render her down in fire. Her body was treated very disrespectfully. So and what I mean by that is the fact that they spent so much time with her that you're going to have a lot of contact trace evidence and evidence that things have gone on with her remains. There's going to be monumental tiebacks from a physical evidence standpoint, specifically as it relates to Tylee's death.
Now, you're looking at the backyard. On September 9th, 2019, which prosecutors believe is the date that they were buried, Chad is texting back and forth with Tammy, his wife, who's alive at that time. Listen to this. You just have to listen to this. Chad texts her, "Well, I've had an interesting morning." Remember, this is a text message. "I felt I should burn all of the limb debris by the fire pit before it got too soaked by the coming storms. While I did so, I spotted a big raccoon along the fence. I hurried and got my gun, and he was still walking along. I got close enough that one shot did the trick. He is now in our pet cemetery. Fun times." Then he writes, "Gonna shower now and then go right for a while at BYU. Love you." And then Tammy's like, "Good for you." Like, why did you just tell me all that, is what I'm hearing from Tammy there. And now we know why. And Chad, "I'm back home now." Caitlin, this clearly, I think prosecutors will argue, is some sort of cover story that he's making for being there. And if anyone saw him burying something in the backyard, and that's where they found Tylee, near that fire pit.
And the irony here, Vinny, is that not only do I think you're exactly right that that is what prosecutors are going to say he was trying to do, but it was that text message that an investigator looked at and said, something is not right here, which eventually is what led investigators to finding, unfortunately, the literal bits and pieces of Tylee's body and then JJ nearby. The investigator looked at this text and said, middle of the day? How is there a raccoon walking on the fence? Raccoons are nocturnal. So that, I mean, just something that small just kind of got into the investigator's head, which is what led them to finding these bodies. And the whole text is bizarre. The burning, I was burning something. There are bodies. It was by the pet cemetery, which, if you have a pet cemetery, I'm sorry, that's just creepy on its face value. All of this is going to come back to really bite him in the behind at his eventual trial. I mean, we have Lori's trial coming up first, and his maybe not for another many, many months. So we'll have to see how it shakes out for Lori first.
And speaking of Lori, here she is. This is a phone call, June 9th, 2020. Again, that's a big date. That's when the search is taking place in the backyard. Lori is locked up. Chad is still a free man at that moment. and he calls Lori about it. And we've tried to pick this apart, you know, through the years that we've had it to try to understand what are we hearing here. Let me play it for you. If you haven't heard it before, this is fascinating. Again, this is the moment where investigators are about to dig up 2 bodies in the backyard of Chad Daybell, and Chad is calling Lori.
Hi, Dad.
Hello?
Are you okay?
So they're searching the property.
The house right now?
Yeah. Yeah. So Mark Means will be talking to you.
Okay. What, are they in the house?
No, they're out in the property.
Are they seizing stuff? Again?
They're searching. There's a search warrant, and so we're going to just get in with the kids.
Okay.
Yeah, so you tried to set up a call. Glad you called.
Yeah.
So we'll see what transpires.
Okay.
Yeah, don't.
What do you want me to do? Pray.
What?
What do you want me
Yeah,
to
pray.
All right, Justice Scott Morgan, about 20 seconds. What do you think of that phone call? I've never heard anything quite like that before.
They're worried. They're worried. It's they're seizing up at that moment in time. They know that something's afoot. They're going to have a very high-powered microscope applied to them, and they know that they haven't covered their tracks well. Because, look, X marks the spot. Access and opportunity, Vin. They found these bodies on his property.